And we're now joined with our guy out there in Las Vegas, Chuck Esposito, to talk all things NBA Finals. And Chuck, obviously, Game 1 was not the thriller that many people at least wanted or maybe expected. 113-91, the final as Golden State rolls in Game 1. How did that blowout in Game 1 already affect what you're seeing in Game 2?
Well, first of all, the blowout in Game 1 isn't totally unexpected. Last year, of course, Golden State won by 15. They won by 30 in Game 2, and then Cleveland returned the favor by winning by 33 in Game 3. And LeBron's only 1-7 now in the opening game of a final series. So not totally unexpected. It did drive the number up, though, a little bit in Game 2, where in Game 1 it opened 7, got up to 7.5. Game 2, it's open 9, and it looks like it might even creep a little bit higher, and probably of a product of what happened last year, that Cleveland lost the first game. We expected them to bounce back in Game 2, and they got blown out. So we'll see what happens here, but this number is higher. However, the one big difference, the total for Game 1 was 226. The total for Game 2, it's 220.
Wow, that's a significant drop right there. We saw kind of the second half, the points kind of tapered off. Is that the reason why you're seeing that number come down that significantly?
Yeah, I think it's a factor of that. And you also look at last year, with 6 of the 7 games being blowouts, all the games were under. The highest total that was ever achieved last year in those 7 games was 216.
Wow.
So I know there was a premium on offense this year. These two teams go up and down the court. They don't play a lot of defense. We know the Durant factor and how Golden State drops threes. But the public was right. They betted under last night, and they were right. And they're doing it again for Game 2. So, again, although these teams can go up and down the court, we'll see if we can get a higher scoring affair and maybe a closer affair. But in 2015, when they played, 4 of the 6 games were single-digit outcomes and 2 in overtime. But over the last year and Game 1 this year, not so close, except Game 7 last year, which was the only single-digit outcome when these two teams played.
Chuck, any difference if Steve Kerr does, in fact, come back for Sunday's Game 2? Are you noticing any difference in movement on that line because of that?
You know, it's hard to say with the line already going up from 7 to 9. I think it's just more a product of how good Golden State is, and with the addition of Durant and being at home. And so far, they're 13-0 in the playoffs, so it doesn't really matter who's behind the bench. I'm sure it's a good thing if Kerr's there, and I'm sure the players will rally behind him, and it'll be great to have him back, and hopefully he's healthy and ready to go. But I don't think it's a big impact on the line.
All right, it's going to be a fun Game 2 out there Sunday. If you can't get to the game, get out there to the Sunset Stations in Las Vegas and see our guy, Chuck Esposito.